roll call. Matt Norbrewster.
Here.
David Pierce.
Here.
Danielle Woodward.
Here.
Julie Kaufman.
Yes.
Thank you. Steve Lewis, present. We'd like to welcome Greg Schwarber from the Middleweight Baseball. We have not seen you for a couple years, so it's a nice refreshment. Just so you understand, we were tasked with some ARPA money.
No,
It's general fund.
General fund.
Well, general fund, sorry, general fund.
Big difference.
Yeah, big thing. But, so, $2 million, what are we doing with it? Where are we gonna go with it? And then your guys' name came up, and it was like, do we, help? Do we get a part? So that's why we're asking you to come in and just explain what your thoughts are and, the goals.
Well, I can start from the beginning and get just a thumbnail overview there of where we started. We're in our third year. Our first year, we had about 280 kids sign up to play. As most of you know, there's no baseball in this town for about 15 years.
Absolutely sad.
How many did you say signed up?
About 280 the first year. Year two, we were about 305, and this year we're up around 340. So we continue to increase, which is good. The only baseball fields, as Dave knows,
Oh, yes, he does.
is in, I had to do that, I'm sorry.
As I know as well, trust me, Jason Jones and I,
Is Goldman
we
Park.
appreciate it, yeah.
Is Goldman Park, and we shared those fields with softball the first year. Last year, the plan was, with our use agreement, we were planning on sharing with softball again. Softball didn't have enough signups to go, so they folded. This year, we thought we would have the whole park. We were picking up softball, because we thought that's an important thing. The high school said something to us that slow pitch softball doesn't get our girls ready to play softball. That we need fast pitch softball. We need them playing fast pitch softball. So our goal this year was get some fast pitch softball out there. We only got one team out of it, 9 and 10-year-olds. So kind of surprised us.
Yeah.
But what they were playing before is, like I said, that slow pitch, and they played all the way up to 18 or so. So they had a few more kids, but yeah, they just wasn't helping the high school. So we're, like I said, baby steps, I guess. We're taking the softball, and we're gonna try and push that.
And that's for the school system?
Well, we're trying to get some kids prepared to play in high school, so that they're not coming up, in high school and playing for the first time, fast pitch. Yeah. So, in addition to that, I don't know if you know or not, but the Challenger League there, the Challenger Field up at Goldman, that board is going out after this year. And they approached us and asked us if we would pick that up, and that's too important not to. So
What is a
we-
Challenger field? What is that?
That's
That's
that
the
little rubberized field. for
The drain
handicap
catchers.
kids.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Dream catcher.
But why would they not be?
I think
If their
they've
kids
just
age out,
been at
maybe.
it for a while. They've been at it a while, and I think
Parents
there's a
get,
couple
parents
people
get
moving
tired.
out of town, and the parents are fighting, and so it's gonna be another
That's the story.
challenge, but, we're up for it. So our plan is to take that on, in addition, next year, to add that in, and continue that, because I think that's a very important thing for those kids as
Yeah.
well. This year, improvements on the park, the fields haven't been, and I'm not saying this disrespectfully in any way, but they haven't been careful by softball people over the years. We worked with Charlie and his crew, and they've been great with us getting last year, we contracted with a guy to redo the infields, and he did a pretty good job on those. But it was just an initial doing. We had him come back this year and add more dirt to it, and then a final top layer that should keep the fields a little more polished.
Did you get that pile spread yet?
We did not. That pile's out in the outfield because the truck that delivered that got stuck in the outfield. He's got
It's not a good time to deliver stuff.
No. So he's got to fix that too. So, but anyway, so we spent about $10,000 there to get the fields done this year. And we split that with the city. So we did 5 and the city did 5. And the other thing is, when we started out there, I guess, and I didn't realize it, Dave, you probably know because you was Smith Park, but the field was full of dandelions. I mean, it looked terrible. And we didn't want to put the kids out there, with the field looking like that, so we contracted to get it sprayed, and $2,000 of treatment to get the whole park sprayed, But we felt that was important because we want to do it right, We don't want the kids feeling like, they're playing at a second-class place. So we sprayed that last year. This year, True Green Chemlon stepped up and sponsored, said they were going to treat it for us, 7 treatments. So that's about $14,000 that they saved us right there, getting that done. So
7 times?
7 times they're doing.
That's, okay, that's a lot of pesticide and a lot of fertilizer, I get it. So mowing's what over there?
Charlie knows that, the mowing,
For Golden, I would have to look, it's around 600 or 800 a mow.
And you're relying on just one mowing, right?
yeah.
Contractors from
That's
the.
all
You guys
that's all
have
we've
no
done
in-house?
this year is, or in years past, this just is a one-time.
Yeah, you have no
one-time
in-house
week.
mowing.
No. So, but, like I said, we're pleased with our progress where we are. The batting cage out there, I'm sure you've seen that. Softball used to have the big machine out there that fed the balls. That thing was ancient and it's been broken for years. We pulled that out of there. We're gonna put batting cages in. We've just gotta get it's sloped down where it fed back to the pitching machine, so we've gotta get that leveled out. We're working with the city to get that done. They've been very, very agreeable with that, so we're trying to get that accomplished this year. It's gonna cost us about $20,000 to get nets to go in there, so the kids can continue to practice. Then the building itself, when we got the key to the building there at Goldman, we went in and softball had left about 20 cans of trash from the year before. And I mean, literally, there were mice just,
It was terrible.
it was ridiculous. I mean, it was ridiculous.
Yeah, but it was also a lack of follow-up from, I'm not knocking you, Charlie, I'm just saying,
Well, I don't know why
So-
they'd
so-
even go in the building other than to maybe
Because we own
winterize
it,
it.
I mean,
Yeah.
so it's city property, I mean, it just is what it is.
But it needs some work. I mean, it really does. We're wanting to put a batting cage in there so we can have kids hit in the winter. And, on the weekends and so forth, whatever. So we're looking at doing that, but the lighting in there is so bad right now. And again, we're working with them to try and get some new lighting and some things. So the things we were focused on more when Paul called me and talked to me, we started talking about spending money on that building itself, to fix that building up so that we could use it. I don't know what kind of shape the furnace is in. I know when I was in there one time, it was like 32 degrees. I mean, it was cold.
So the furnace in the main part of the building still works. It's the small furnace in the kitchen concession area. I have received bids to replace that. It's around $5,500 or $6,000 to replace that.
But, and the lighting needs replaced. I already replaced the door, which was great because.
So is the city doing all this work, or you got an outside contractor?
They're right, well, go ahead, you know better than.
So, they tasked me with getting costs for the different projects in the different parks. Today I called an electrician for the lights at Goldman, and the electrician said he had already been contacted by the board and Bohannon to actually look at this. And I had heard something about that, but I didn't know anything about it. So talking more with Greg, they had looked at they had sent in, Bohannon and D-Board had sent in their contractors and to look at a bunch of different projects at the park. These are actually, I've only made a few copies, everybody can pass them around and look. So these are the projects that the board and Bohannon had come up with through Midway.
Just looking at what the park,
Yeah.
what the building
But-
needed. The
so-
building hasn't been touched in how many
Yeah.
years?
So are you getting three
Yeah.
different bids?
Depending on what, yes, unless they're source well or unless there's something like that, so, but these are, I just found these today, I had no clue, no idea that these, that these costs had been,
And this was done at the direction of
yeah,
the city manager.
yeah.
When he called us and said, hey, he didn't call me, I was in another meeting with him, and we got talking about the building, and he said, what's that building need? And I said, it needs a lot. He says, well, give me a list of everything we need, and Steve was there.
And Greg and I had went through the building a few months ago. My scope was a little smaller. I was just looking at light fixtures, changing those out, the door locks and replacing the rear doors that had rusted out. Some asphalt work. I did look at the furnace. Like I said, I had a couple of bids on that. This was more, there's more projects involved with this. So I'm not sure. So I really don't have a lot of guidance on what everybody wants or what exactly is.
So
going
what's
to
your
be.
long-term plan? What's the long-term deal with Midway? Build it?
We're gonna build it.
Okay.
Yeah, our
And-
plan
and
is to build.
And would that park, like, suffice for a couple years to build
Well,
different age groups?
And
or-
I'll be honest, I don't wanna waste money on one park if another park's coming, you know what I mean? And I don't know that another park's coming. I know that I've been in meetings with the city manager about property to maybe make a city park. That Baraka was talking about doing some kind of land swap or something with
Okay,
them.
so we did two things, or we did one thing, and that was to pick a neighborhood park and a user park
Mhm.
with these funds, and to try and improve two, just to get two done. And then whatever was left over, we would spread that love across some other parks.
Mhm.
So we ended up picking Goldman as the user park to improve. So I'm just trying to understand if the utilization is for baseball and baseball development, softball, then I'm fine. Well, I think we can talk about that and gear to it, but we obviously need a plan and then a commitment. Otherwise, we were going to kind of make it into a user and obviously neighborhood and put some different items in there to keep people coming in to use it as a neighborhood park.
Well, I don't know what commitment you're looking for from us. I mean, we're all volunteers.
Right.
We're all, we're trying to build this program from the ground up.
Right.
And it doesn't build overnight,
What do you have right now? What are the age groups that you have?
We've got them from 4 years old up to 13,
Okay, so 4 to, basically through junior high
yes,
is what you have.
Yes.
But we have junior high now at the middle school, right?
we do.
So they actually play, which is
Well,
semi-new,
It is.
to me anyways.
It is, and they can play with us after the
Which
the
I understand
junior
that.
high, which is good.
Right, I understand that. Now, in addition to that, I mean, we have the parks at Goldman, but we also have the baseball parks over on Titus.
We
Is
do.
that part of what you are looking at, or is that a different program in addition to something that would be different?
We have nothing to do with that field.
So, look, I'm not saying you need to sign a dotted line,
Mm-hmm.
but we're willing, I think we're all open to the fact, we have a master plan that was done for parks, okay? And each one is different, laid out differently. I guess all I'm asking is, you know, we would like to get on board and it all makes sense, and we're there to support you. You're using the park, that's what we want. When you look at that corner, and if you could really build that up and dress it up, it's a hot piece of property,
Mhm.
it really is. So that's all I was kinda getting at, is, you know, what do you see in a year, what do you see in 2 years, do you want to stay there?
Well, again, the only thing I can say is that Baraka property, if that were to develop, and I have no idea where that's at.
Well, where is this property at?
The old Verity Middle School.
By that percent,
The old-
the old Verity
Oh,
School.
okay.
Over
Where-
by
where-
the-
where they're-
40 acres
Where they
behind
have,
it.
where they have church.
Yes.
Yeah, but
Okay.
it's
With
the
the football
field
field.
behind it,
Right.
all
It's the old
behind
football
that.
field.
Lamar's talking with the city, I'm in those meetings as well, just
Okay, yeah.
because it's gonna be supposedly some kind of athletic complex, if this ever gets done.
What land does he wanna swap with in the
I
city?
don't know. That, I don't know, I've not heard that. I keep telling him, I said, we keep talking about how many fields we need and everything like that, and I'm like, gotta get this done with the city first and decide if they're gonna do it or not, and then we'll talk about the fields, you know?
Are you not whole, is that what you are? or-
We're Little League,
You're Little League,
yes,
so it's considered Little League.
yes.
So the inside of this building at $17,000 is roached. That building, 17 grand for the interior?
I didn't do.
No, and I'm not, I'm just like, that's a big number.
Yeah. I didn't do any of this. In fact, I told Dave, I haven't seen this.
Well, and, you know,
Steve Bohannon is one that contacted Chris DeBoard, I think, and had Chris get all his subs.
all his stuff.
That came in and went through the building and said, this is what it needs. I was not there.
Oh,
for
they're
that.
all-
I was out of town.
I know 5 of the names, I don't know S&P, but all the other guys are legitimate, really good guys, and they're gonna make it right. So-
But the building, and I'm not saying something out of line, it hasn't really been touched since.
It's indicated.
It's
50
cleaned out, it's
years,
cleaned
you
out,
know?
but it's.
It needs work.
Yeah, it's
I mean,
indicated.
it really needs work, as well as that back building, as well, you know, too, it needs a roof
Like
and a garage
Sunset,
door.
like Sunset building.
Mhm.
I mean, that would help, just because then we would keep our assets. there.
And you'll work out of that,
Yeah,
correct?
that's exactly right.
Okay.
And that's what we want, is to have it, you know, you talk about the fields up on Titus, but to have a program and play, you know, 2 fields there and a field here and
Yeah,
a
have a
field
home,
over
have a
there.
home
you know,
base,
it's-
have a home base.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we can make Goldman work. The fields are a little small for
Yeah.
what we need, you know, but for now, we can make that work.
So what number, I appreciate where you're coming, first of all, I appreciate what you guys have done in 3 short years.
Amen to
Yeah,
that.
definitely.
Little League.
Awesome.
Bring baseball back into existence, that's like a Herculean feat in Middletown, and to get the volunteers to execute. So I applaud your leadership and the rest of the guys you got engaged to do this. This is the heavy lifting part. As you look forward, you've got 340 now. How many kids can be serviced by those 2 fields?
Well, there's not 2 fields.
There's more than that.
There's 6 fields there,
Yeah.
and a little bitty kinda T-ball field as well. So if you count the little bitty one, there's 7 fields there.
Mhm.
Yep.
So,
Okay.
I mean,
It's
there's
a
more
busy
fields.
place.
Yeah,
It's a busy
it
place.
is.
That's not including the special needs.
Right.
No.
Correct.
Okay,
Green
that's-
Cat
not
Tree is
even
completely
business.
separate.
Okay, okay.
And how many
But-
kids could you grow into it? So how many?
I think we've got a little room to grow. Now that, with softball not there, and we can play multiple days a week. See, we were playing before Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday is what we were playing. Now we have the ability, with them gone, we're not sharing a park with them, we can practice and play as well. So we've got a lot more scheduling availability than what we had before. So, you know, when Smith Park was going, we had games on those fields every night of the week, 2 games a night, and there were 12 fields over there. So, now I don't know that we'll ever get back to that many kids playing baseball here. I think they're too busy playing on these and,
Yeah.
you know, things, but But we're trying to grow the program.
Do you have some young coaches, some young volunteers
We do.
working with you?
We do. A
Not
lot
to
of-
age you, but I'm saying, right, you guys gotta mentor those people
A
along
lot of the
with.
guys that are working with us are actually guys that played in Knothole with Kyle growing up.
Good.
So,
Good.
and they've got young families, so
Good.
it's kind of been a good
Awesome.
mix, it really has been, because they, they all communicate, they all talk still, and, that's the group that we're looking at passing this off to as we get older.
But you do see where I think the park is shared a little bit,
Mhm.
a little bit with the public,
Sure.
bringing kids over, seeing those ball fields, introducing them to that. We have a shelter over there.
Sure.
So I think, we would like to improve that a little bit. But my direct questioning is, I'd much rather support a user group that's, producing and growing. I'm all about that.
We're trying very hard, we'd like to host
Hence-
tournaments.
Hence the reason soccer and lacrosse is here now, right? We wanted to get on, because baseball was not happening over here.
Mhm.
But we applaud, or I applaud that you're over there. So I really just, my direct questioning is, what can we do to support you? What do you see your needs are going to be? But we also have to think about other parks.
I get it. One thing I did leave out, and I just wanted to throw in before I answer your question, is this year, we also secured a grant with Home Depot.
Congratulations.
Awesome.
That's really good.
$9,000 we're getting from them for fencing and poles, and we're gonna rebuild the shelters over the dugouts, so the kids aren't out in the sun, so.
Will that
all that
cover it?
stuff- Please?
Will that cover it?
Yes, well, it's gonna cover the two big fields.
Okay.
And they're gonna come back and redo the other four on a phase 2 or phase 3. So, they said anything that's in Home Depot's warehouse, they have people that would come help us with.
That is awesome.
So, we're working with them, they've been great. In fact, that's gonna be on the 13th of April here. We'll be over there, Goldman, we're gonna paint all the fencing on the two big fields.
Appreciate it.
To make it look better, fix all the holes in the fence, get the poles straight, and get the shelters over, and paint the batting cage.
Who's working your infields for you?
We are,
You're gonna do it yourself?
we are.
Okay. I got some drags, I got some pin drags too, if you need them.
Really?
Yeah.
We are,
But you have.
we
Couple
are
golf
trying.
carts.
Yeah, we purchased a gator from the Reds this year.
Good.
They phase their out every 3 years, and we were able to make contact with them, and we're getting one of their used ones, which was well serviced.
Yeah.
So we feel like we did
Yeah, and people, and the people that are also off of, I would suggest to you that, like Chemlon. So they're vendors that are supplying them with fertilizer, pesticide, those people as well will get active with a local, team. There's a bunch of spur or knockoffs that you can go off of with just one vendor that you have. They have other, what they're getting their supplies from. I would just bring that up to you, so.
Well, True Green came out of a friend of my daughter's, and they called me and said, hey, I heard you guys had to treat the park, we'd like to do that for you. And,
Doesn't get any better than that.
no.
Actually worked for him for 10 years up in Toledo, and we got behind a lot of civic projects.
Really?
So, but like I said, then Monsanto might suggest that they have a grant to help, the field, or help
Mhm.
to support a program that you have going on.
Our goal here is, like I said, our kids were so far behind originally. I mean, so far behind. We had to start teaching kids how to throw a baseball at, 9 and 10 years old, they couldn't throw it over the plate. We had to take a step back and have the coaches go out and throw at that age. And you shouldn't have to do that, but we did. Last year, at the end of last year, we took a team to All-Stars tournaments, a couple All-Star tournaments,
Good.
and they won.
Yeah.
Two out of 3 games, they won.
That's fabulous.
We were amazed, but we were happy for them. So this year, we plan on doing a little more. We're trying to push these kids forward. And, you know, as we develop, and kind of what soccer does too with select in, we're trying to get us, you know, the better kids, get them on a select team and build that program that's gonna.
What's the deal with your equipment?
What do you mean with?
Well, like a glove. Does every kid have a glove? Do you have
No, they
bats?
don't. But Kyle bought us a bunch of gloves, and, anybody that needs one, we give one to.
Bats?
Bats, we had to buy just about every year,
Okay.
not all new, but we buy new ones every year because they get beat up. So, you know,
Okay.
we buy equipment, you know, as we go. This, taking on softball required all new equipment. You know, we had none of that, you know,
You know, you gotta have the tools to teach.
yeah,
There's a grant, for stuff like that I'll send to you.
please.
They hardly have anyone ever apply for it. so
Really?
Could help you.
Please,
Yeah.
yes. I would love it. We're trying to be proactive on grants. Like I said, but quite frankly, the community has embraced this. I'll be very honest. The community has been very good to us, supporting us, and we have, we've worked hard, you know, trying to build the trust back, because obviously, you know, the baseball collapsed because of a theft issue, which is just unfortunate as heck for the kids of this community.
Yeah.
So your greatest need is the building, you think?
Well, the building, you know, if there was a way to move the fences back a little bit, you know, to make those fences, you know.
You gotta have some homers there, coach. Come on, man, you gotta let them feel good on this.
And that's what I said to those guys. It's like, okay, so they hit some home run.
Don't go stretching those fences out, then you're bringing
Well,
it
that
all
was,
down.
that was kind of what I was wondering about the other two fields, was that, you know, if those were the right size, maybe that was something they could grow into, you know, that you might need those two fields at some point over off Titus, that, you know, was something you could use down the road.
Potentially, we're trying, with our 13-14s this year, we're gonna try and use Smith Park as much as we can. That field is not being used near to its capacity, and we're gonna sign a user agreement with the city to.
It's a really good resource.
To use that, because that, you know, the fields are a little small up there for that age kid, and since we've only got 2 teams with that, those guys are gonna have to travel around a little bit. They're gonna have to go to Monroe and Edgewood and Mason, and to bring them over on that field is a lot nicer than
There you go.
bringing them over on.
Greg, let me ask you this, so we've got a bunch of these parks that have a backstop. We just repaired one at Sherman Park, a backstop. Glad Old Park, we have a backstop. Fleming Park, we have a
Yes, we
backstop.
do.
But we have no field. Does any of that make sense? Would anyone take a feeder team and go over and use it if it, and we know it doesn't, right? It just doesn't fall out of the sky and it's perfect every day.
Right.
We get that.
Right. I know a lot of our coaches are asking, where are there backstops that we can practice at?
Everywhere.
And
There's
we
a few.
keep telling, you know, I used to drive around the city a lot more
That's
than I
right.
do now.
Sure,
but-
sure.
But, we tell them, a lot of those
Okay.
parks.
And they're not the best, all right?
But they're
Gladell
not
was
awful.
Gladell was uphill.
Yeah.
Sherman,
Sherman's flatter than anything.
Yeah, Sherman,
Sherman just set up perfectly.
I think
What's the
in
one
South
down
Main
off
has.
Yankee,
Yeah.
I can't even think, what's the one down?
Oh, Damon.
Damon Park, yeah.
There's a
Well,
bunch of-
Nobody's ever.
Well, let me say that, now here's the thing with Dane, if you wanted to add a few ball fields, have you ever looked back on the back end of
It's
that
huge.
field?
I've-
Wide
I've-
open.
I've been there.
Yeah, wide open,
I know when my son was
yeah.
coming through the system, we'd go down to, is it Amanda? Yeah, Amanda, on, Oxford State.
Yeah, you play there.
And I'd throw a golf net up in front of me so he didn't kill me, and we'd pitch.
Pitch,
And
yeah.
my wife had got me outfield shagging, you know?
Does anyone else have any questions for Greg? Cause we got other business we gotta get to, and I've been like hammering him, but does anyone have any questions?
Yeah, so you mentioned hosting tournaments, which is really where the gravy is,
It
right?
is.
That's the easy gravy. When you think about tournaments, is that for the masses, the other teams, all the age groups for tournaments, or is that your upper end kids for tournaments? And how far off are you from being able to host some tournaments?
Well, Little League, which we're part of, we're in District 9 of Little League, and everybody in that, they have it set up in a schedule, and they rotate the, tournaments through everybody. We were supposed to host one last year here, and we can't do it because of the fields. They don't meet the requirements. So that's part of what we're trying to do with this Home Depot thing, is get these fields to where, they gotta have shelters over them, keep kids out of the sun, and gotta be so long, and, maybe we can change the height of the fence or something, do the old, Fenway Park deal,
Right.
build it up as opposed to building it out, So, well, but there's those kinds of options that we can look at to make it happen. And I hope I'm not stepping on the city manager's toes when I say this. There's a group that came into town. And Charlie's looking at me like, don't say this. But I know, I was in a meeting with the city manager, and he said there's a group that came in that wanted to host tournaments every weekend in our park, from April to August, and wanted to fill our hotels and fill our restaurants, economic development. And he asked me what I thought, and I said, what are you gonna do with the 340 kids that are playing right now? Because we can't play baseball on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday only. Can't do that. You got pitch counts, you got, parents that, work, you gotta have the weekends to play. You just can't do that. And he's like, well, we argued about that. And I told him, I said, if you end up deciding to go with that group, I said, first of all, they're out of Miamisburg area. And I said, if this is such a good deal, why isn't Miamisburg jumping all over this? And they said, well, they offered it to them, and they wouldn't take it. They wouldn't do it. So I said, what makes it good here then,
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
They have to be vetted.
I was like, oh my.
We're, Greg, we have this systems thing that just has to get implemented. And, I'm right with where you're at, but I would hope that good intentions would come out, and that Paul would, vet them, find out a little background. Why are you coming here?
For free field.
But
Money.
But
For free
but-
field.
Really simple.
But at the same time, we're stuck here with 28, 30 parks, and we'd like to make some money on it. I'll be honest with you. And I'm just saying, but we appreciate that it's taxpayer, Middletown City. That's why we're having this get-together, because we're trying to make sure everyone is represented, right?
I
The
get it.
walker, the baseball player, the dad, the kid, the whole 9 yards. So,
Yep.
sorry. Anybody else have any questions?
Well, one thing before you get up, thank you for what you're doing. I think what you're doing overall for the good of our community and the kids coming up is fabulous. And that does more for anything, I guess, have somebody come out and run our fields and tear them up over a weekend with kids that aren't even ours.
Yeah.
I don't know that that's worth it. The area behind the parking lot, I believe that's still part of Jayco, and it goes back a long way. You know what I'm talking about?
Are we in Goldman or
I'm not-
Jacob?
On Goldman.
Going
All
west
the-
towards the firehouse?
Yes,
Yes.
there's a big area there.
Yep, there is.
I mean, there's potential there, is what I'm saying.
I get it.
And then also, is the firehouse gonna stay there, or is that one moving?
That one's moving.
So it is even bigger, I guess is my point.
That's a bunch of batting cages in that.
So,
Oh, you think like I do. I was in the firehouse, I told him the same thing. I said, man, this is great batting lanes here.
I guess so my point was,
That's a good idea, actually, yeah.
But my-
He said, oh yeah, it needs a new roof, $1 million. It's
Damn
like-
batting cages.
well, but my point was, is that I think there's potential room to really grow that direction. I mean, you can make, like, maybe you keep your smaller fields for the younger kids and go that way, make bigger.
You could. The only issue there is parking, man. Because
Well, but maybe the
parking is-
could the parking come from the other side where the firehouse is my point.
Potentially.
I mean, there's options, I guess, is what I was saying, is to make that,
Yes, and that could work.
so, I don't know,
Yeah.
I was just thinking ahead, but, gosh, thanks for what you're doing, and, you know, I think it's fabulous.
Thank
And, you know, gosh, this seems like an easy thing for us.
Daniel?
I don't really have any, I do have one question. So if we did, you know, they took over Goldman Park, would you still use Lefferson as like a backup?
Lefferson, honestly, we didn't use all last
Okay.
year. Lefferson is not the cities anymore. Lefferson is the
okay.
schools.
Yeah.
Okay,
So
So,
Lane's
but
fine.
we have a great working relationship with the school. If we needed to, and they're not using it, we can get on it.
Okay.
Without an issue.
okay.
So,
Is
I
it
wasn't
lit?
aware of that.
yes.
That's a lit field?
No, I don't think that is anymore.
Are there
I think
any
the
lights?
lights were, went out. They
Oh.
took the lights out, I think. I don't think it's lit
Seems like
anymore.
it was like, cause we had food truck park there last year, it seems like they had lit games.
Really?
I could be wrong
The
though.
one at Smith is not lit,
I don't,
is that right?
Right.
no,
So there are no lit baseball fields? Okay, that was just a question.
not that I'm aware of anyway. I don't, like I said, I could be wrong on Lefferson.
Seems like-
We don't play there. We didn't play a game there only last year. We do our opening day parade there just because of convenience. We just come through the parking lot of Baraka there and into Lefferson Park and play some games on those fields, just an inning or two for the
Yeah.
parents. And kinda have a little fun there,
Yeah.
For opening day, which we're having on the 27th of this month, and we'd love to see you if you'd like to come.
What time?
I have just one thing, have you been in touch with Cliffs? Do you have a contact at Cliffs?
I don't, and well, I thought we had a contact at Cliffs, but.
I'm Doris with Keep Middletown Beautiful, I have a contact I will send to you.
Please, because we tried to get Cliffs involved, being right out their front door there, you
Yeah,
know?
right.
And,
That's
and
what I'm
thought
thinking.
that they would jump all over helping us.
I could see a sponsor on the team, just saying, just saying, just saying,
least.
there's no twisting arms.
So,
Yeah.
What
See
time
you.
on the 27th?
I'm sorry,
What time is it?
9:00.
Is that when, like, the parade begins?
Yes.
Danielle, do you have another question?
That's
I
on
just
the
had one
27th.
quick question. You didn't have any plans on changing like the layout of the fields, leave them exactly how they are?
We've
Or
got
you
enough
just-
trouble just getting the,
Yeah.
the dirt and to get everything, you know, to the point where it's playable now.
Okay.
For us, changing layouts isn't something, that's way above ours. I'd have to rely on the city to jump into that and do that for us, so.
That's why I was thinking the other way, to build. it might be easier.
There is a layout in the master plan.
Mr. Armbruster?
I don't,
Not a question?
I don't have any
Are you
questions.
serious?
Can you believe that?
That's bad, I had to.
You got a question? So, I don't think we need a motion for this, but here's what I would ask. We wanna be on the same, like, we wanna be on the same. If you could put together a short hit list that would really make a difference over there for the kids, and make a difference for you guys, coaching, trying to develop them. Just put some stuff on paper, and why don't you send it over to us?
Okay.
And take a look at it.
Okay.
Because this really helped me understand a little bit more what's going on over
Yeah.
there.
We're doing our best to try and help the kids of this community.
More
That's
than
all
your
we're
best.
trying to do.
That's amazing.
That's all we're trying to do.
And we-
None of us are paid.
And I think I said this
Just
before,
like,
just like us,
I'm
you know,
sure.
yeah, we're not
Yeah.
paid.
I mean, we're,
Something
yeah.
on the city
Um,
Facebook page.
But just like I said, there's this fine line with these boards and committees that we don't wanna be another layer of bureaucracy, but we are also here to try and navigate and help counsel with a few suggestions.
But I'll make a point.
And, and the thing that has always frustrated me with this park division is we kinda get up and it just falls apart. And then we're stuck with, you know, if I don't have to ever say again, we got 28 parks, we gotta take care of 30 parks. I would love for that to happen.
But we're trying to do our part with the park.
Yeah.
We-
Oh,
Every
amazing.
time,
Yep.
you know, we leave that park, we walk that park to pick up anything that's left.
It's very
It's
clean.
dropped.
I've been over there a bunch.
We try we try to make sure and we're preaching that to people that.
Just so you know, so we have a tree trimmer going over there, and he's gonna buck out some dead trees and then limb up some stuff and kinda open it up.
Okay, good.
I told him
Big
that.
one right there on
Yeah,
the
big,
first baseline.
that big silver maple, man, it tagged some of my daughter's balls. I know, that's the first one I walked him out to. So, but I hate to get rid of that silver maple, cause the shade in
Yeah.
July and August, Greg, come on.
You're
man.
right, there's not a lot of shade.
There's not
up
a lot
there.
of shade out there, but I appreciate you coming.
Thank you.
And anything you might, more information, I do not wanna come across at all that we're gonna hinder you. I just would like to get on the same path.
Yeah,
No, we
like I
appreciate-
said,
we
we're,
appreciate-
we're trying to be very open,
Yeah.
very above board, very, we work well with Charlie and his crew, they've been great.
Super nice.
Helping us, get to where we are, and like I said, yeah, some of the bureaucracy with some of that stuff is a little bit frustrating, but that's part of life too.
It's negotiation.
Yeah, that's part of life too, so.
Thank you.
Good job.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thanks for everything.
Oh, no, thank you. Yeah, I'd love to take one, because
Yeah.
I've never seen it.
Good catch.
All right.
Thank
Have a
you so
good
much.
day.
Thanks, Greg.
Great, thank you. Yes, appreciate your time.
Oh, thank you.
Give you a shout later on.
You got it.
Bye-bye.
Let me ask you a follow-up on that building. Does that building have a concession stand in there?
It's got a kitchen in, yes,
And does any of the improvements include
not currently,
that piece?
not currently.
Okay,
That could be a whole other.
yeah.
Charlie, what do you think about that finished price? To get that building set up for 78 grand? You comfortable with
Might be
those
low.
numbers?
Seems low to
And,
me.
and not include a kitchen?
Well, we've already did the locks and the doors, and that was actually more than their bid of 2,000.
I get it.
Because we had them all keyed the same, different things. It's not far out of bounds, I don't think.
Okay.
Is the building worthy of putting any money into it?
If this is not in the future, and this is the plan for Goldman, you
I love that.
know, a layout, the new layout with the new concession building here. You know, if this isn't in the 5-year plan, then I'd say put the money in the building. If you're gonna spend $1 million to
Right.
redo the park, then I would say just put enough in it to get it going, you know. And 78,000 really is a lot of money, but for a building that size to bring it up to, a serviceable, you know, something where everybody's safe, it's not that big of
How many square feet is that building?
I do not know.
It's a little bigger than you think when you're just first looking at it, driving by.
It is big.
2,000? 3,000?
Oh, it's 4,
Okay, okay.
yeah.
So, in the line of questioning, that, you know, nobody has a problem spending the money to make something better, but it's the usage that it's gonna get, and what's the asset to the program, to the city. So, that's,
It's 3,800 square feet.
okay.
It's close. So you feel okay about the building as far as like, you know, putting money in, you don't look at that and say, oh man, we should start over?
No, because the bones of the building
That's
is fine.
Okay,
So,
that's,
you know, the roof's not leaking. There was the termite damage you talked about, it's very small. It could be, you know, a very small repair.
Yeah.
A few things, you know, they're not there in the winter. Do you really need the furnace?
Correct.
You know,
Fans,
there is a big fan that needs to be replaced, and it's like $1,500. I don't know if that's in their bid or not, but that was part of the furnace. But, you know, painting the inside, the new lights, I got one bid on new lights, already, and it's around $3,600 or $3,800. That's replacing 15 lights inside the building. And then I'm looking at another bid to put 4 masts on each end of the building, 10 foot tall, with floodlights on it, because that park is completely dark.
yes, yes.
So, and that was, I think, another 35 or 3,600.
But if you feel the bones are good and it's worthy of that, it seems like that's the biggest ask, is the building. That just seems like a no-brainer, but I'm glad you think it's worthy of fixing up.
Oh, the building definitely has a life.
Okay.
Are there cameras over there?
There are.
Well, that's.
Police run those.
That's what I gotta,
The lights would really help.
that's what I gotta ask.
When he said the theft, no.
There's not one
So-
bias.
So if you, that building would probably cost about, if you were just gonna do a metal structure to replace it, about 180 to 200 grand to replace it, depending upon what utilities they have in there.
Right.
It would probably be closer to 250 grand to replace that building based upon what soccer's spending on its 40 by 40 building over there, although there's no utilities in that. And that's $46 a square foot with no utilities.
Is that an insulated building?
It will not be.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not gonna be heated, so
Well-
that's, I mean, so there's 78,000
No.
for what's already.
Yeah, the
been
bones
received.
are there. I mean,
That
it's a
was my
brick, it's a
question.
brick building, the bones are there, but I still, you know, that thing must be trashed for 17 grand to get that thing fixed inside. I get prep, hey man, I know all about slinging mud and
Yeah.
laying up drywall and getting good people to do it. And I think we're all familiar with the board. So no need to get 3 quotes?
There is, you'll still have to have 3 quotes.
Okay.
Anything over $3,500.
And that's what I thought applied, and I
Yeah.
apologize again.
No.
I was in a conversation when I came back over here about ARPA, and I apologize, I was really off course. But I was just talking to some people about crazy incident that happened. So yeah, I just figured they would get 3. But I do wanna say, I trust Chris, and I'm glad to see his name is on there.
Yep.
So, hi, I'm Steve.
Hi, I'm Elizabeth Lee. Good to meet you.
Nice to meet you, and did we miss citizens' comments, or?
So, well, she emailed interested to just come and observe.
Oh, glad you could come.
She's a citizen.
Yeah, just want to introduce ourselves, Dave Pierce, Bronson Julie Kaufman, Danielle Woodward, I don't know what's your name?
Matt Armbruster.
Great.
Nice to have you.
She's new to the city and
Cool.
loves parks and activities in parks and wanted to see
Well,
what we're about.
There's a lot of stuff to do,
Okay.
trust me, a lot of stuff to do.
And we can always use volunteers.
Steve, I apologize, but I need to leave by 6:30.
Okay.
Do it.
So,
Yeah.
Dave, so you asked about square footage, I didn't mean to jump over you on this thing. So I just felt like, just have them send us a list of some things, a short list, and let's hear what they have to say. I'm not here to block anyone.
Different than their quotes that they had, that packet of.
Well, yeah, I mean, what does, I get the needs of the part, but what does the program need? That's what I'm hoping they'll kind of disclose. Because I could see us helping them, I'm just venturing out there, helping them with basic needs to make sure they get a startup going, so.
What was the ask for the community foundation for, specifically for Goldman? And if we get it, wouldn't it have to be spent exactly on what we asked?
So Ashley actually wrote that, so I don't know what dollar amount she put on that.
Okay.
I'm assuming 10,000. I think that's the max that we could ask for. And then it's dictated to either Goldman or Sherman, whichever one.
Well, the reason I asked is because if it's specific for program or playground or whatever, I was interested. I thought maybe like if it was like baseball, that might be something, you know, that could be directed specifically to.
And I wonder too, if they, the baseball, committee way, they also applied for the same grant. I don't know, 'cause I don't know if there's stipulations like if we're awarded and it goes towards.
Well, if they were awarded for baseball things, it might be different than playground equipment too,
Right.
so.
Right.
That was all I was asking, is that, you know.
I can find that
If
out
they're
for
getting
sure.
baseball equipment, maybe we could help them a different way.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so let me do this. I would like to bypass, we'll come back to urban forestry topics.
Okay.
Because with Charlie needing to leave, I'd like to get right over to the Sherman playground equipment and start discussing this, because Charlie really needs to be here, because we don't have Jason, we don't have our city liaison. So I just wanna make sure we have, and Jerry, please don't take that the wrong way, but Charlie having some information. So, you two are busy, correct? Okay. So I would look to you a little bit, I call on you two. So, looking at this playground equipment, I see 3 options, correct?
They all, I think they're all the same except for the color.
Okay. So I would open this up to discussion. Does anyone have any questions?
We did, one of the things that we did take out was the music equipment. And one of the reasons why was $37,000.
Thank you.
And then we switched a few things out. And then we also, I don't know if you guys noticed, added like the merry-go-round, things like that.
That we liked better.
Yeah. And also one extra thing that was on there was a piece of equipment for 6 to 18 months, is that what it is? Or 0 to 6
0,
months?
right.
It's a smaller piece that's a little bit to the side. It's
It
a
has the
smaller-
canopy on it,
Yeah.
upper left corner.
Yeah, I think that
picture.
was like, I don't know, 6,000
It's- yeah,
maybe,
it's-
something pretty
it's-
low. And then swings were also included in the quote. I
Did you
believe.
guys get a chance to pick the layout of this? How it's
No,
laid
that
out?
was, no,
And this isn't the layout that we talked about with him.
yeah, I think he just kind of put that
He-
together
Okay.
to
he put it
show
all
us.
So he's
Okay.
giving
Oh,
us
anyway.
examples of the actual equipment.
But
just-
we
Not
also-
how it was gonna be done.
We
Okay.
did go over like the, measurements of it to
Yes.
see if it would fit before we went ahead and
What did he find
went
out?
through the design
Pretty
team.
good?
He said we have more than enough room.
Right.
There's a couple different ways, right, that he said that we could place them, and it just depends on how we want the layout.
Does some of that require getting the asphalt out of the way?
That's one thing that we did talk about, because we had told him, you know, that asphalt patch was coming out, and that was gonna
And
be
then we would
available.
apply some of this equipment
Yes.
to where that is?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
We were gonna try to keep the
big-
smaller kids area, is what we spoke about, more towards the alleyway sidewalk area. Just because the traffic is slower on that side, and maybe more the larger kids to the other side, or somewhere like that, but yeah, mostly in that area.
Okay.
But we did talk about placement, but that's not how it's pictured in
Oh, that's okay,
in the
that's
design.
all right, just asking.
Yeah, it's
Didn't know if this was kind of the layout.
And I think the budget did go down, even after switching stuff out, there's like a $30,000 difference than
And this
what it was,
includes a
right?
new swing set also?
Yeah,
Yes.
Mhm.
The swing set really isn't very expensive. It's
Yeah.
like a 3,000,
yeah.
you know,
But it
4,000.
does add.
It adds another bay.
Another bay, yeah, so we get two more regular swings.
The,
And that also includes the benches and the tables that are shown in the picture as well.
Nice.
the, yeah, I'm not a particular fan of their tables and their benches, mainly because their corners aren't rounded. Like, there's another company that I liked better, just because the design I liked better on the other one, but, the thing I was shocked about is the distance you have to have. It was like 32 feet for the
Yeah.
swings. You gotta have them, like, on both sides in order to have them there. That was as big a problem as anything, you know, making sure that you have the distance for that. Everything else was gonna be easy, because there are basically 4 different areas we can put things in. The way we looked at the park, you know, with what's available, the spaces that are available for sections of equipment, so we still have, you know, areas that
Yeah, I think it
things
is.
can be moved to, you know, like how you want it to lay it out, how you wanna turn something, what you wanna put in between. You know, like maybe the swings could be in between the 05 and then the 512s, you know, you can maybe
But you
do
guys
some
did talk
things.
about it?
Yeah,
Oh,
and he
all
said
of
that
that.
we could kind of decide that, you know, once we get the equipment, but we do have more than enough room for everything that
And
we had gone
multiple
over.
places, he thought, you know, we would have, you know, be able to shift around, yeah, you could put it here, or you could put it here, or you can move this, or you could switch it, like, so he gave us a lot of options as far as, cause he knew what we were talking about in the design of the park.
Charlie, have you seen this option 1?
No.
Okay.
It might have been sent to me and I didn't open the attachment, I don't know, but I have not.
This might-
Well, damn it, it goes off in my pocket.
Just gonna bring mine.
I
Is that
have
your
it
car?
somewhere.
No, I don't think so.
Is it a silver truck?
I'm like, ooh, where is it?
Help us out, Steve.
No, I'm good. It's somebody else's.
Sorry. So,
It's basically the same equipment, just
Yeah,
different
Oh, yeah.
Anybody have any questions?
Will it fit in the area?
That's what he had said, I mean, he took his thing on the computer and was measuring looking at the equipment and then measuring it, and he said that we have more than enough space.
For everything at multiple places, we could switch the design up, not the design, but actually, we could, I mean, it wouldn't look like this, you know, you might put the merry-go-round in a different spot.
So what is their suggestion on keeping is there an age group separation?
Yes,
Okay.
3. I mean, you can.
Right, but I'm just, I mean, I know it's the obvious, and I know that's been brought up before, but that, I think, is what we're trying to get to, is, you know, the age separation and spreading out. I almost kind of visualize this thing being a little bit of a horseshoe, a little bit of a crescent moon.
That's sort of what's available to
Walking,
us.
right, so coming off of the path, off of Sherman, where the swing that isn't working right now, right, we start kind of there, then we wrap around, right? We kind of go
Yeah.
towards the large piece of asphalt that
Yeah.
needs to come out and work our way down to the old equipment. That was what I was visualizing
Yeah.
a little bit on this.
And that's what he had measured, and he said that we had more than enough space, because we didn't even go past that
Because the
area.
moguls, because the mounds
Yeah,
kind of,
that's where we
kind of
had
force us to stay
Yeah.
with that, right?
Yeah,
I mean, we were even talking about where we would put a shelter down there, you know, it still includes, and of course, I was looking for a space for fitness, where you could, and there was still plenty of room to put everything, all of that, including shelter, without going to the other side of the basketball court, which is where I was thinking, that was the only place we had left. But that's not the case, the way he laid it all out, you know, he was able to, you know, like, say, well, this is this many feet, he had the design and said, well, you've got this many feet for this, and this only takes this. He said, yeah, you got enough
Well,
room.
I'm sure he GPS'd it.
He
later,
did,
right?
he had it all, you know, and so he was like saying, yeah, you got enough. And the 3 sites that are along Sherman, because there are actually 3 sites along Sherman
Right.
that are flat there, there's
Yep.
3, because there were 2 separate walkways that divided that,
it might be.
or were there 3? There were 3, and so there were like 3 areas inside of that, you know, along with what goes along the alleyway. So it seemed like, and we didn't necessarily, I mean, this is all wonderful, if we had a flat area that was perfectly flat, I don't think we had a problem with this being all together, but we don't really, and so separating them, the only question that I had is like, would be for a mom, if I had a 10-year-old and a 3-year-old, I'd wanna be able to sit, and we
You're
talked
split.
about where the benches.
You're split with
You
them.
could see if you sat, and we talked about where we would put the benches, that's, like, this isn't anywhere where we put
Sure.
benches, but that's what we talked about. So other than that, I mean, we figured that all this would fit, in addition to fitness, in addition to a shelter.
So, I've been preaching about consistency, at least on these tables and benches. I need to know from the group, the board, and if we need to vote on it, that's fine, but that's one aspect. I just feel like this needs to be consistent. I'd spoken to Ally, I mean, they're kind of maintaining this, they're the ones checking up on it. And can we apply, number one, I like number one side, I'm just gonna be right out front, I like number one, to me, it's perfect for that location. But just a couple adaptations would be staying with the benches. But Charlie, honest to God, if you don't think that's a huge issue, I mean, like, if they don't have to be exact, but I would like same color scheme, black, possibly wood grain type polymer.
But will that
For
make
you-
it look different, like if it's not matching the equipment?
And I get it.
Like odd
Yeah,
looking?
I mean,
You're,
go ahead.
you're talking benches and trash barrels.
Receptacles, and you guys looked at, what am I looking at, 2 picnic tables potentially?
Yeah,
What we
there
call
are a
picnic
couple,
tables?
yeah.
The square picnic tables?
The picnic tables that I mean, I wasn't even thinking about putting picnic tables in the play area.
Okay.
They were all going under the shelter.
So yeah, I'm basically talking about receptacles and benches, and I don't know why I'm on this, but I'm trying to get a pattern going here.
So, I put a little packet together, these are straight from the Parks Master Plan. So this is the information about Sherman Park, and then it's got what their designs look like.
Correct.
Like the Versa court for the
Right.
basketball court. Then you've got shelter designs that were, approved for the Parks Master Plan. And then there's a sheet for, trash cans, benches, anything like that. Then there's the sign, of course, and then on the back is, I just added that Goldman
Right.
relay, so if you all wanna look at these.
Thank you.
I only made 5 copies, I believe, or 6, so, we can pass them around, but these are straight out of the, Parks Master Plan.
Thank you.
With, as far as I know, what the city's vision of what, every time they're gonna redo a park, but this is what it should be modeled after.
Okay.
When I drove around to all the parks, boy, I hit probably 12 parks in the last week. It seemed like most of the benches were the polymer, but they were green. That was, from Miami to Avalon to all of them. They may have had a wood bench, but the majority of them, were green. There were some, I think, Sunset has a couple different ones, but they all have the same color, but they're not wooden benches, they're all the same, and they're, definitely, that's the kind that I was talking about. But I was hoping for a color scheme, if we voted on the color of the court, make it match the playground equipment, make it match the bench, make it match.
Yeah.
I mean, whatever you vote on, whatever's decided on the basketball court ought to be the same as the playground equipment. Playground should match the court, at least in my opinion. Make it like, if it's a color scheme of green and brown, then make it green and brown. If it is, if it's the circus colors, make it the circus. Whatever it is, make it the colors. I mean, Jason said it wasn't any big deal to change colors. He said that's just a touch of a button. It's nothing, for him at least. And that's obviously no cost of anything. That's just a personal preference on any of that. So I was just looking at that, whatever the color scheme was, that should be the same. And my opinion was I like those over the wood benches on that.
So what age groups are represented in this?
All of them.
What are?
12.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
But there's nothing for 13 and above.
Okay.
0. Unless you,
Besides the basketball court.
well, you could put it that way, but if you have the walking path, that was
Right.
where the fitness equipment, in my opinion, came in, because that was a 13 and above, pushing forward that direction, as well as the walking. I mean, if you look at, and I'm sure Matt can say this, when you're over at Smith Park, a lot of people are walking. They use the walking, not Smith, but Sunset. And Smith too, I mean, and even Jayco, when you sit at Jayco, everybody's walking. I mean, and it's not just older people, it's a big deal. And connecting the streets, that's gonna be huge. I think people are really gonna use that. So that's all a part of it. It should be for everybody, not just babies or school age. It ought to be for everybody.
All right, so Charlie's gonna have to get going. Does anybody have any more questions for Charlie?
I do, but I'll take them offline. I got a number of questions, just to follow up on the paving piece and some of the other pieces we talked about infrastructure-wise, what the costs are, because I'm not seeing any of that in here.
I just emailed, Jerry with it, I
That's
didn't
this
get copies
printout.
made up.
Okay.
Here, you wanna pass this down? That's.
Yeah, I made copies.
I do have another question, Charlie. Are you doing the grading? Because we talked about the grading piece for to remove the little wall.
No, no. We're taking out I know Steve was gonna have some people look at it to see what.
Yeah, it was all
would be the-
exploratory on the wall,
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
just strictly to hear some numbers.
But I do have one more, thing to pass out. It's a shelter design. I did get a bid on it. It was, 57,000. That's a 20 by 20 shelter, all steel, 4-inch, concrete pad. The cost could go up a little bit if, when they present the design to engineering, they might require a footer or something
It'll
like
go
that.
next month.
For the most part, this
It's like
would
driving a
go,
car off the lot.
this design is in line with what's in the master plan.
It's like the one at Sunset,
Yes, kind of.
the newer one.
Not as,
The one
not
on the
as
south
nice
side?
as that, not as nice as that, but in that same design. It is all steel.
I like the one on the north side. I think that
Yeah.
one's a nice one too.
Yeah. So, like I said, I'm still getting bids from people, for a lot of different things, but one of my suggestions would be to, go ahead and pick something and worry about colors, because you've gotta order it now, you've gotta get the paperwork going now to get this equipment in 3 or 4 months, 4 or 5 months.
He told us what his lead time was. And all those, shelters, surface mount would be fine for, any of the tables and all that.
Yep,
Okay.
Does that price include the concrete pad?
yes.
Is, okay, so it would probably hold anywhere from 2 to 4 picnic
4 to
tables. So
6, 4 to 6.
4 to 6?
Yeah.
Did you get 3 bids, or is that under?
That's just the first one, so I'm just giving you this as
So we're not
Jason
ready
said
to
he
vote on
also
it.
some
does,
information,
Correct.
yes.
has he contacted you?
Yeah, we've talked, he's gonna get me some pricing too.
Because he said he could do it for a lot less than we were talking about. Yeah, I would be interested to find out how many, and 4 tables I think would probably be enough for inside. It would be nice if there was room
With
to
the
walk
number of
around.
benches, yeah, and the number of benches that you're wanting to put in the park, I think, 4, even 5 picnic tables. So,
Trying to on here repave the alley. When we were out there with Scott, we talked about how the repaving the alley could come from the street funds. Is that not a possibility, like, by virtue of it being on this list here?
I think that anything to do with, upgrading, because not only are we doing the alley, we're expanding the one in for parking. That was part of the plan. I think 6 to 10 parking spots, kind of a angle.
On the
in.
east side?
Mhm.
Okay.
Angle in parking, no, the west side, or, yeah.
On the west side?
The alleyway is on the west side, but the
I'm
parking was
talking about-
discussed on the east side.
Yeah,
Of
yeah,
the
the
alley.
east side of the alley.
That's what I was
yes.
asking about. Okay.
So, go ahead.
So, when do you think you'd have the other bids? Cause that would play into.
I've been talking to one guy for the last month and a half that's doing a project at Lefferson Park with a shelter, and he keeps telling me he's gonna get me prices, cause I'm pricing too, I wanna, for 2 separate parks and hopefully get a better deal.
Yeah.
So,
By next
but
meeting?
I hope, like I said, Snyder, Jason is supposed to get a price for this.
He said he would do that.
Yeah, so, it's,
Were there speed bumps that were gonna go on? Was that something we discussed about the alleyway, or where were the speed bumps gonna go? We talked about.
I'm sure we would put a couple of speed bumps in the alley,
Okay.
just because it's, a lot of people cut through there.
Mhm.
So we want to slow that, keep that traffic down for, especially with the.
So we'll stay on track. You gotta go, I get it, but we'll stay on track with this equipment. Appreciate it, and
Thank you for all of it.
just smile when you know when we vote on something, that's what it's gonna be.
It doesn't really affect me whenever I
Correct.
make a decision.
Right.
It's just, the longer it takes, the longer it's gonna take to get it implemented in the park itself. And in no means, would I want you to rush and not be happy with what you choose. Make sure it's what you want. For the playground equipment, I would suggest that, the music piece, that is something that is easily damaged. Would probably quit working really fast.
Immediately.
Those little moving parts that
Yep.
kids play with, those get broken off,
Yeah.
and those, you want something that's
Right.
kind of a standard, something for the kids to have fun. That's gonna hold it, right?
One last question, the VersaCourt, as they vote on that, how many colors on that does it need to be? How many different colors, does it matter?
It doesn't matter, it's how you want the,
Okay,
and they can draw it up anyway. And I talked to Snyder about the VersaCourt too, he said they do that also, he said, but he couldn't touch the price that, Cincinnati's giving us,
okay,
so.
okay.
Thanks, Charlie.
Thanks. Good work, appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thanks for everything.
Okay, so a lot of information dumped on us. Obviously, the goal here was to try and make some decisions. I just need to know, does everyone have the ammunition they need to make decisions? Are there questions that need to be asked? Do we need the representative from Burke here? Are there things that we need to ask? the lead time, I meant to ask that, so what did,
He said like 10 to 12 weeks,
Yeah.
if we make a decision, 10 to 12 weeks, that he could.
Get it here, it
Yeah.
would be here.
but there's a lot of information, okay? These guys worked extra hard to get this format together. And then there's more spillage that, you know, Charlie gave us, shelter, this, that. And then the number for this, the dollar figure, if, you know, I mean, this could go on and on and on, but we just all need to be very comfortable with what's been put in front of us. And I want to make sure there's an opportunity, that if someone doesn't have it, then the vote doesn't have to happen. I'm just gonna say that. And you table it, we talk some more, and then we figure it out. Because it's a big decision, and there's been a lot of work and time put into it, and it needs to be respected and done correctly. But on the other hand, if the group feels like we need to move forward, then I'll look for a motion on something.
So I'd like to know in the in total piece, as we were looking at a lot of component factors here, when you bring all of the pieces together, what does the total spend look like? Which is why I started originally with that project plan, because it contained,
Agreed.
you know, lines for budgeted items,
Funding.
right? And so
Yes.
I'm gonna keep going back to that, because that is a huge
I get it.
need for me, being a finance guy. I need to be able to see what is the total amount here that we are talking about. I mean,
Right.
I love the playground equipment,
Right.
okay? I gotta be honest with you.
So-
I love what you're doing there. But it's $220,000, and how does that 220, when you lay it onto the other things
Okay,
that
so.
have to be done here?
So
What does the
expensive.
total picture look like at
So,
the park?
so what I have in front of me is an expense incurred so far. That's in the packet. If you look in your packet, there's an updated expense, what's
Financial
been spent,
statement.
okay? So we need to add 12 grand onto this number for the trees. That is not on here, because they haven't cashed the check yet. Okay? I'm going off, if I'm reading this correctly, right, we had two expenditures.
Is that 12,849?
Yes.
Is
Well,
that-
no. Hold on. No, because all I'm seeing is Smith Park restroom buildings and double door replacement. Those are the expenditures I'm seeing off of 17, off the 2 million down to 1755. Correct?
Yep. They have not added.
They have not added the
trees
tree. I do not
Or
see
the-
the tree.
or
Yeah,
the-
this just
expenditures.
says we got $1,755,000.
Correct. So I'm just.
Goldman and Sherman Park
Correct,
combined.
correct,
Okay.
correct.
And then this, that he gave us.
Correct,
Before we walked
correct.
in, yeah.
Yep. And then the 78 grand that they're asking for, that I've been told is going to be taken out of it.
78 grand for,
Goldman.
For
Yeah,
Goldman Park, yeah.
So 12 and 25.
So I appreciate, Dave, you have every,
Can we-
I'm
can we
glad
put it
you're
in
bringing
one
this
s-
up.
I'd like to see it in one spot.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get it.
Total listing, and
I get it.
where are we? Are we at 400 grand, 800 grand, $1 million for Sherman?
No.
Where, where?
Well, I get it, but I
Where are
mean,
we?
we are throwing in some numbers, so.
Okay, if you want to, you asked what's it take to make a decision?
Correct.
For me,
Right.
I want to see everything.
Yeah, what do we got to spend?
Laid out, you know, we've talked about benches and tables and
Right.
trash cans and all that. Let's lay it in and let's see the total.
well, there's a range on all those, like the ones that I was looking at for the benches, there was a huge range for the benches, you know, where you have a 20-year warranty and a 2-year warranty and all the different ones. I mean, but those costs are insignificant in my opinion. What we did with playground equipment, you know, we kept it under, you know, under 250,000 easy. That's what Jason came up with in the first place. But even with this equipment, it was less than, you know, and we could keep it there, and there was even that one piece that we added, and that could pull out, we can get that lower, because there's some stuff on there that neither one of us really were crazy about, that we could pull off and make it even less than what it is, that would make us happy. If you said, okay, keep the, you know, the playground equipment under this number, pick what you like about it, regardless of colors or anything else. We could keep whatever number, we could keep it under that number easily, because we've researched, we've done enough work, we can say, we
I
like
don't doubt
these.
that, let's just see it all.
He wants it all on.
I
I want
understand.
it all on paper.
But I think, you know, where we're holding up is the bigger thing, you know, like concrete and, you know, just make some guesstimates about what we think those things will cost. And I think those are, you know, like asphalt and.
So with those three entries, I'm at $1.6 million. The three entries I just got done bringing up that are not on this piece of paper, 12,000, 26,000, and 78,000. We're at $1.6 million,
And the VersaCore's 30.
right?
Well, I think that was part of that was one of his numbers. How much was it versus?
Why don't we do this? It's really important to me to vote on this so we can get it ordered and get it in here, but I do agree with Dave in the fact that we have all this money floating around, and even though we have a large amount that's left over, we wouldn't be good stewards if we didn't.
That's after the playground equipment, $1.4 million. Just rough number, just a
Yeah.
rough number. Sorry, keep talking.
No, I mean, I'm just,
But that's what I'm getting to. If there is some questions that need to be had, then let's table this vote on this equipment, and if it would help. Because Dave, you have every right. You were gone. You were excused on being away. So we have some questions that need to get asked or answered.
Could
And
we
I'm fine
just
with that.
complete the project plan? We have a descriptor on the left-hand side of most of the items. Can we just put the dollar amounts in there so we can all see them in one place?
Mhm.
And if there's a range, that's fine.
Right.
I'm happy to make a decision based on a range, but
Get
if
it.
we got 8 picnic tables, 4 benches, this, that, the other,
I
let's
get it.
just lay all of that in there. What is known, what is not known? And where are we? That's,
Yeah, but Jason's quote does include park benches and.
Yeah, he wasn't my first choice on any of the park benches or his, you know, that wasn't my first choice. I didn't particularly care for, like, his picnic tables. I didn't like, they were all square edged, which to me looked like an accident waiting to happen. If a kid ran into that, it was gonna be cut, as opposed to, I'm like, what about a rounded edge? He didn't have one.
Okay.
So I was like, that just seems to be a easy fix to me. There were other companies that had that
So
fix.
we can call another meeting to order if it would help to get the most accurate or most current expenditures on paper, so everyone can see them. Because $2 million is gonna go quick, 17 or 1.7. It's gonna go quick, we know that.
we need to spend it quick so it doesn't go outside.
And I get that too, but I want to make sure everyone has clarity and the information that is needed for people to make the right decision is available. And I don't have a problem waiting a week. I know, you know, take a vote. I agree with Dave, but I'm kinda looking for a motion. I'm just bringing this stuff up. If we need a little bit of time to have a discussion or to ask questions, Jason is on vacation, which is fine, it's fine. But if we need him here to pick him a little bit, then that's what we need to do.
I don't need Jason here. I think he's done an excellent job of showing us what we need. We can just pick and choose from what he has. He's done an excellent job showing how it fits, what it would work. You know, if we wanna make it bigger or less, that's easy. I think that's an easy fix for us because we've spent enough time with equipment poring over everything. I have more of a question about what are the extra costs. I mean, I have absolutely no understanding of concrete and asphalt. I have no idea what those are gonna cost. I have no idea, you know, putting all those on the line item, like even a guesstimate of what those costs would be.
And that's what this is, isn't it?
Well, but I mean, like, it's not in the,
And then-
it's not in the line item.
it's not captured in one place.
Right.
for
Yeah,
us all
I
to
just
look
And
got
at.
that-
this walking.
We
in.
got, I understand.
Okay.
And
Okay.
that's what I'm talking about, if we can get everything
Mhm.
that we had on there, and even if it's a range, like what Dave said, here's the most expensive piece that would be the best trash can versus the one that's the least expensive, and it might be the one that's over at Avalon, but we would like a better one. and here's the better one, and there's any range in between. Or, gee, we'd like 15 benches, because that's the number that you and I came up with, but well, we can only afford 10. Okay, so, but there's a range, and every line item could be, everything could be put on the line item, and I get that.
Does Burke's installation include the benches and everything, the price of their installation?
Well, it looks to me like it did
Yes,
Okay.
it does.
on there.
It does say that on the quote.
Yeah.
Okay.
I do not have quotes on installations on the benches that I have. I can get them though, and I could get them within a day or two on the company that I liked better. And again, we don't have to go with that company, we can go with Burke. But those were, I mean, Treetop was the one that had the best outdoor equipment for everything that I liked. I mean, you can look through here and see, I mean, this is the picnic table, they have it that goes in, and you can see the rounded benches on the seats, as opposed to, you know, the one on this page, this is what they had, which was the squared off, you know, which to me, I looked at that and thought, oh my God, I could see a 2-year-old running smack dab headlong into the corner of that. I didn't like how it looked. So, I mean, those are the kinds of things that I was looking at for, you know, for safety, I guess, for some of these things, but it's easy to put that in. And Dave, I can get my end of that in, within 24 hours, I could put that in a line
Perfect,
item.
that'd be great.
I could even put the fitness in
Well,
there.
it's because you know the equipment piece so well, maybe
Yes.
it's already contained in the equipment.
Well, what's not,
In the equipment piece, and you could get through it really quick.
I don't think it would take long. I can also get, what I don't have is an installation cost. I can get that in with freight. I don't have that. It would take a little longer, couple days, to get the, you know, what that would cost in addition to. But again.
Yeah, I think the
couple
way to
days.
handle some of that stuff is you just take what you know your total cost to be, and then you add a 10% cost
Okay.
overrun.
And that
to
wouldn't
handle
be
that
any
stuff.
big deal.
And we handle it that way with a cushion. Okay, cause I'm sitting at about 380 grand right now, I think. I think.
Right.
Right, I think that's where we are, but
Okay, so-
I don't know for sure, because
So let's
We
get-
haven't sat
then
down
let's
and
get that
validated
Then
it
let's
all.
get that taken care of. But so we kinda need a motion to, I would say, table, or that we need to come up with another time to talk. But we need to have we need to let Jerry know, or staff know, what we need for the next meeting to get us a little closer to making some decisions.
So you'll remember this conversation at the park that you and I had. I asked Scott, who owns the budget for this project?
Yep,
Right?
yep.
I'm still looking for that answer.
Okay,
When
Who
I
owns
asked-
the, and I'm
Yeah.
not being critical.
No.
No,
That was the number one question I asked when we started all this. Who owns the confirmation of the budget?
Scott Tadish is who provided this to me.
Well, that's sort of the accounting of where the money's already been spent.
Right.
What we're looking at is, as we look forward to this project, who owns the compilation of putting that budget together of what we plan to spend? This is not the budget, that's the historical accounting.
Correct.
For what's actually been spent. What I'm talking about is the look forward of what we expect to spend on.
I would think
Sugar
that would
Barn.
be me that puts that together, right?
I think so too. How about this? How about I move
I'm happy to help you.
Yeah. I mean,
that we
I'm
put
not-
this
I'm not
together,
throwing darts.
all the line
I'm not
items,
gifted at it, but I-
everybody's
I'm happy to help you.
responsibility
Yeah.
for the line items, whatever they are ready
I have all the
within
quotes for
That
everything.
was
1
the
week?
file I sent.
today, if you get all the
Project
information,
plan.
so the line items are done within a week, or whatever days we wanna have it, and that we have that ready. Anybody whatever your responsibility was for that line item is ready in a week, or whatever, today. That information goes to Dave. Dave will disseminate that and distribute that.
Okay.
Is that a
Okay.
fair?
I'm happy to do whatever it takes to get the.
Do we need a faster turnaround? Do we
No.
need 48 hours?
I was
You're-
looking at that, I'm sorry.
You won't get 48 hours out of me.
Okay, then let's do 1 week. Within a week.
So.
Next Monday, all the numbers go
Let's
to
return them in 72 hours. So I appreciate the conversation where it's going. I'm just, I'm just making suggestions. I don't want to be a dictator. It just sounds like there's a lot of information. It needs to be choreographed a little bit more. Thank you, Jerry, seriously.
for what you have done.
No
To
doubt.
put this together.
God, yeah.
This is
Absolutely.
this had nothing to do with you, or we didn't have this, we didn't have that. I was a tad surprised, I'm just gonna say this to state the record. I was a tad surprised that Charlie didn't see this.
He's on the email.
And that he didn't look at it, because again, I'm looking at them servicing this. Does this fit your bill? I'm not coming to service this thing.
Yeah.
That one, staff. So,
I can.
you wanna
plug
make a motion,
all
and
the
we have
numbers.
another meeting,
I'm not trying to be a fly in the
Yeah,
ointment.
you're not, dude, you're, let's
But
move
I'm
on.
fearful of the look stupid factor. okay?
Absolutely.
I wanna take that off the
Do
table.
it, do it, but that's why I brought it up.
But regardless of a meeting, I think if the numbers could go to Dave within a week,
I mean, I can plug them in tomorrow, what, the numbers that I have, the
I
final
gotta
numbers
look
of
at what
what
I'm
I've got.
supposed to do.
Yeah, why don't we table it and then meet Monday just
The
for this
15th.
item? And then
Wow.
we can.
That's
That's
tax-
novel.
Tax day? Next Monday?
I haven't done
I'm getting
mine
an
yet.
extension, I don't give a crap.
I have to do mine yet.
So special meeting will be
We
specifically
have all
just
weekend.
to
I do.
vote. We are doing a vote, but prior to that, we are getting, I'm getting everything plugged in there that I have. And I'll cross-check it with you all.
And I'll get mine on.
Okay.
And that's
Um,
to vote on the playground equipment and the VersaCore colors?
The VersaCore, are
We haven't gotten to that, I mean.
But we wanna color coordinate that to the.
I think everything ought to be color coordinated.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I agree.
So, okay,
Regardless.
then,
Does that affect anything since we got the quote with the 30-day thing, or?
I don't think the colors probably ought to make any difference to them at all, but maybe I'm wrong.
No, we just, I mean,
Yeah.
we need to, make a choice by next Monday. I mean, I feel like, you know, I
It's
understand
a
that
very
we
valid
need-
question.
Well, I'd be happy to vote on the VersaCore tonight, because it
we-
really, I think the big elephant in the room is the playground equipment. Do we really have 220 to spend, or do we have 180 to spend?
Right,
Exactly.
But that shouldn't affect the color. You can
Right.
I
coordinate the
agree with
color.
that.
yeah, so if we pick,
Without
if we
voting.
know the color tonight, we can pick the VersaCore tonight.
Yeah. And pick the
Yeah.
color for the play equipment
Yeah.
without,
Motion it up, man.
It's, to me, the playground equipment is the flex in all of this. There's some things we absolutely have to do to make this park acceptable
Now,
and safe.
In the pack that I gave you, that is the breakdown for pricing as well for each individual park equipment. So if there's something that needs to be taken out,
Yeah, there's line item there.
I mean, it's there.
It's like 39,870 or something.
Yeah,
That's
I mean,
still
it's literally broken down.
39,700.
Yeah, so, but like these right here in the pack,
Yep.
if they wanna take out equipment, it's there, they can find it on here, say that comes out. That's what we need to know, like if we're taking out, the park benches from here, then we need to know what to plug in from the other, if that's what we're gonna do, so that
Right,
we know.
I
the
have a
final-
line, there's a line item on what he has for benches.
Okay,
So,
and that would affect Jason's bid.
exactly, and the same for the, yeah, exactly.
May I ask a question or two? Out of curiosity, I have never seen anything like this before. Is there another park somewhere that has this?
Not in Middletown.
All the parks pretty much need updated here, so that's where we're starting.
Okay, so there are other parks in Dayton that have this, or?
We would have to get you
Cincinnati?
reference. I can't answer that. We'd have to get a reference on it.
Okay, I was just curious.
I mean, Verdi Key's probably one of the top equipment places that furnish equipment to other cities too, so. I think Franklin's is Vernicky. Franklin has Vernicky, they had brand new equipment last year,
It's
I
not,
believe, or 2 years ago.
except, well, here.
So I make a motion that we pick, the colors today for the,
I want to ask him specifically.
playground and the basketball court.
Is that part of the VersaCore?
yeah.
First.
All right, so you're talking about option one, the colors on option 1, 2, or 3? Is that what you're
Yes,
talking
that's right.
about? Okay.
Well, I'm gonna make a pitch for circus colors.
Well, hold on, we got a motion.
Oh, we got a motion.
Oh, second.
Yep, right. Now we get to discuss, right?
Correct.
You seconded it.
I'm gonna make a pitch for the one, like Charlie passed out, VersaCourt here, and you notice that on here, it's more the circus colors. I like the bright, I think it shows up. Having worked with kids for over 40 years, they tend to gravitate towards bright colors. So it's just something that I like. I think you can see it from far away. I think it attracts kids, so that was my thinking with that. So I have a tendency to go to the brights, the bright yellow, blue, red, all of that. I think it's the 4 colors in the circus.
That may make it
Scheme.
easier to determine what's what too. This looks really cluttered to me, and the bright colors may make it easier to
Yeah, but
determine
please,
what court is what.
but please understand, and not to be really, how the layout is going to be, how these different individual pieces will be laid out. It will be a little bit different as well. You've been to Sherman Park?
I haven't been to Sherman Park.
So, there's a layout for it, but I understand and I appreciate your concern.
Matt,
I like the green, the first one. What is that, the green and is it,
Green and brown.
yeah, green and brown.
So, this is an interesting quandrum I'm in. Can I get a show of hands? Can we do a vote like that? Like a show of hands for option 1, a show of hands for option 2, and a show of hands for option 3? I can do that, can't we? Can we not do that?
yeah,
That's a good
I would see
idea.
why not.
And that's, yeah, that's legit. Anybody out there that's watching this, I'm sure will get some hate mail.
Do we have to close our eyes?
Heads up, 7 up, let's do it.
So, keep passion.
Remember that?
You know what Danielle thinks about colors, it is her
Yeah,
hood.
It is.
It's your hood.
It's your hood.
It's your hood.
What color you
What
want?
colors do you like in your
This was
hood?
my option. This
You
was-
like that purple and green, don't you?
I was just playing around with the color scheme when I had gotten home, and I thought that one was pretty cool, cause it.
That's my
included
second,
It is
I dig it,
different.
I dig that.
And it's bright,
It has the bright yellow.
and it includes the purple. It was just the color that
I
I
think
had
that's
picked
actually
and wanted to
pretty
see.
I think so too.
It's actually a good compromise between the two.
Yeah,
It does include like the bright colors like Julie
It's got the
wanted, and a little
bright
bit of like
yellow.
the greener
Well said.
colors. And I think it looks good with the
Kaboom.
green background, you know, with the grass. It was just something that I
Good
had
call.
picked. It's called Aspen.
Ask a question, ask the employee, ask the person on
I
the
vote for
front.
that one.
I'll vote for that one too.
Yeah.
Now, the
Okay.
question
Wanna
is,
vote for it?
we should be able to get the VersaCourt in those colors.
So I was trying to.
So that's on the second page in the pack, the VersaCore colors. There is purple,
Is it midi purple, what they call Northwestern or whatever?
I don't see a teal, but I see a yellow. Could we do purple, yellow, and white?
Well, you know what, what is that called, that,
I'd send this to them and have them do a color match. like this.
it's after, it's the very first page after this.
And then just come back at our next
Right there.
meeting and tell us what,
I think so.
yeah, that's what I would do. You're
We
gonna
could
make your best
probably
efforts to
go-
match up
you
with
could
this
hit
and just see what they send you.
Yeah.
Just trying to
What,
get.
Can I comment that the white probably would show the dirt really badly? Maybe gray instead of white?
I think
Like a lime green
matching it to the equipment may not be a bad idea. I don't think they would put up with it anyway.
Yeah.
No, I don't.
So may I ask, I'm gonna ask a general question, are you guys trying to, so I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna ask for a motion to take a vote on the color scheme. Are we including the Versalock, are we including the basketball court with that vote?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm just trying to clarify.
Dave had a good idea. He said to take that equipment, send it to VersaCore and say, which ones do you recommend to match this?
Good idea.
That's a good idea.
So, and I can bring that to
I'm taking it.
Maybe get some,
So I make a motion to vote on the VersaCourt color and the playground color to be the
Option
yellow.
3.
Option Option 3.
I need a second.
Second.
Yep.
So I'm gonna call roll on this instead of hands. Mr. Armbruster?
Yes.
Mr. Lewis, yes. Ms. Daniel?
Yes.
Julie?
Yep.
Yes.
David?
Yes.
Unanimous? Okay.
Yep,
We got it done.
that's a good idea.
Okay.
We can even go with multiple color. different
Fine thread it,
directions.
baby.
Something.
What's next?
Fine thread it. So, urban tree topics, did you get some paperwork on this? or
Instead of
what?
yellow.
Oh, okay.
So, I'll just go down, trees planted and removed. I didn't print up, cause I got it very last minute.
That's fine.
And I didn't wanna waste a bunch of paper,
Good.
since we're talking about trees. But if you wanna see, this is,
Can you,
trees
can you email that to us?
Absolutely.
Thank you.
The tree removal and activities at the parks, I will email that to you guys.
Thank you.
There, it looks like there was, total removed was 7, fell right out of way, 4, so they removed 4, and took down 7, so, there's that. Couple things on the Tree City, stuff on, and I got this today, literally, April 16th, Arbor Day proclamation, they have to do that as part of the Tree City thing. So they've asked, a couple of us to be at the council meeting on the 16th, for the proclamation presentation. And the question on that is Amy asked me, what are we doing for Arbor Day?
Okay.
Is it part of Earth Day, all of it's all in one, since it's all around the same?
They're gonna plant a tree for Arbor Day on our Earth Day event.
Okay, can you email me exactly what is gonna be done for that?
For Arbor Day?
For Arbor Day.
Yeah, it's up to Ally, you have to get that information from Ally.
Okay,
I will do my best
No.
to push it along.
that's okay. Yeah.
So, the proclamation, okay, down in city council chambers. I would like everyone to try and be there if they can.
April 16th.
Yep.
Um,
Tuesday.
Typically, I like to hear myself talk, so we've always tried to give the public a little bit of information. Basically ODNR stuff and bugs, EAB, pests, what's happening, what's good, what isn't. My question would be to the group, do we expand a little bit in bringing up what we're doing with the parks?
I don't think so. That's up to you.
Everybody's going, no, shh. Okay, but
Not yet, maybe.
But it's always nice to talk about the group, so we have some things in front of us. I just want to get some
I
clarification.
mean, I think it would be okay to say that we've got some good things coming up that's,
Okay.
we're excited to share when we can, and
Okay.
however you wanna word that.
That's before birthday, right? So I'll bring up birthday, right?
Will you be talking to them about that?
I can, or Steve can. I
We'll
don't
talk,
care.
we'll talk. I
That
think
might be
it's
helpful.
very important that you're there. And
So
I think you have a
Do we
minute.
know where the tree is being planted? Or what kind of tree?
I will do my best to find out.
Okay,
Okay.
so Ally would know all that?
Yeah.
Cause if it's easier for me to email and copy you on it, I totally can do that.
Or I can email and copy you.
That's what-
That's, why don't we do that?
Okay.
Let's do
We
that.
meet Monday and we'll turn around.
And then
on
I'll just make
Tuesday.
sure to stay on it.
So it's like 10 minutes,
Yes.
right?
I'm
Yeah.
not gonna talk.
And they have the plaque and Amy gets all that.
Yep.
But you and I, we can fine tune it.
Okay. So,
Sit down.
those things that Ally emailed me this afternoon, I will forward to everybody, and make available online.
Okay, I need a little help here, because I'm kind of getting, okay, so old business was update on basketball court progress since vote.
So that was basically the VersaCore, we kind of already did
Done.
that.
It's
Um,
done.
Just making sure,
Yep.
I'm clarifying, because it got getting a little wild. So I'm going to new business.
Any
Doris, any Earth Day updates? I know you've been kind of waiting here for like 8 hours to say something, so I apologize.
Before I go to Earth Day, the swing set that we purchased with the money we got from Pilot Chemicals being dedicated this Friday in Douglas Park at 11 o'clock. And it would be nice if someone from the park board came and thanked them for it, because I'm sure we'll get another 5,000 for something this year.
11
Also-
a.m. Friday.
Yeah.
Douglas.
Does. And I've been told that Mr. Lawley will be there. And I'm hoping some of the Middletown People Board will be there, but, you know, we want to kind of show it up and get
Do
it
you
on
know where?
Facebook.
Douglas is a big, you know, is it on the?
Next to the splash pad.
Next to the splash pad, okay.
Look for the new.
Look for the new swing set.
Yeah, there you go, duh.
We got it.
Which group donated that?
Pilot Chemical. Next up, just for information, we're back in the preschools again this year, starting this week with 400 kids, and this year we're teaching them about litter and not littering. So that's starting this week. Earth Day, so far we've got 150 people signed up, and we got 3 weeks to go.
That's awesome.
We have 5 big companies, Cliffs, Ship Construction, Amazon, Atrium, and Pack International, that are all gonna be doing projects the week previous, and they've already committed to like 100 volunteers coming in, so that's part of the 150. Thank you, Charlie and Ed, from the Parks Department. They have come up with some projects for these people to do, you know, painting and helping with construction and mulching play toys.
So I shouldn't be throwing my McDonald's coffee cup out on the road anymore?
Please don't.
Please
Okay.
don't.
I was just making sure.
Please don't.
Someone would take a picture.
Well, I was just trying to get some
That'd be on
business.
original
I
Middletown.
was trying to find
Coffee,
stuff
real
for him to
quick.
do. Doris is like back in the house.
And then, of course, on that Saturday, we have some churches, the Rotary Club, a lot of individuals are coming. So far, it's looking like in that group, probably 50 more people, so that's where the 150 are coming from. And that's the update.
Keep pushing it.
Thanks,
Thank you.
Doris, that's a
Thank you, Doris.
Thank you for hanging.
Yeah.
We are very interested.
Will someone from the park board be there Friday?
Yes.
I'll be
Try to be there,
there.
too.
I'll try to be there too.
Bring a little, you're
I'll bring the baby.
2-year-old, so somebody can be
I'll bring the
using
baby.
the swing set.
Right, right, we need a picture out there, too.
Sure.
Right?
I'll bring her.
Steve will
Okay,
come swing.
you need to take one for the team with the
We can
I
push
want a
you.
big smile, and I want your kid
I wanna
crying.
see, I wanna see you pushing Steve
I don't
around
want the
swing.
kids
She'll
crying.
definitely cry for sure. She's a big crier.
Well, thank you all.
You can push Dave in the swing.
So Earth Day updates, discussion on Sherman Park and Golan Park updates. If no one's been down there, the backstop's taken care of. Footnote is, I'm like, $3,000, wow. Fence went up a lot. Wow. I was like expecting new
Yeah.
all around, and it's a patch job. It's fine, and once it gets painted and it gets uniform,
That's what
it
I was
should be,
wondering,
yeah,
if
it
it's
should
gonna
be
get
really good.
painted still. Yeah.
So expense report update, so I'm guessing that is what you gave us with what has been spent, that has been written down.
Right, which would,
Okay.
but we're gonna update that into
Right.
that spreadsheet.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay,
Great.
Can I interject? Do you need someone, volunteers to paint this fence?
Well, I was gonna go to Sherman the day of the 27th to do the 2 picnic tables.
Right.
I don't know how I would get up there to paint the fence, but
a really tall pole.
if you give me something to get up there,
Or, yeah.
we can
or
figure it out.
something.
If you, yeah,
We would need to
Duct
paint
tape and,
too.
yeah.
broom handles.
I was gonna say, are those paintable? Can you paint them? I never thought about that.
Rollers, basically rollers. It would be nice to spray it on,
It could
but.
be something that we could.
Yeah, you have to paint everybody's house.
And, you know, here again, there's so many different venues. You could probably go to Ted's and talk to Jeff and Keith, and they would donate the damn scaffolding for you, you know, to make it safe and you know, anything, it would be great, and Doris knows this, it's great to know what each group is doing so we can get some support to you. Sorry, take a little bit, right?
How
But it's always
tall-
been a cool
How tall
thing.
is it?
What is that?
15 feet.
12,
Yeah, it's
12 to 15.
12 to 14, yeah, it's got a little height to it.
They're all big,
Yeah, you need to be careful.
but I think
Or we'll know you're there because there's something this much painted from
it
the
would be
ground.
so neat to have one done nicely,
5 feet up.
so that we can take a look at the rest of the parks, we can say this is possible,
Yeah, a
you know,
sample.
for the other parks, because you're right, I was surprised that they have backstops, I thought that was fabulous, those other parks. What else? Food truck.
Yeah, so your food truck,
Yeah, that's this Friday. I'm excited. We're doing an opening day, baseball Reds theme. They are out of town, so I utilize, and we have all 4 mascots coming. to do photos, and then we have live music with real life humans. It's gonna be at Sunset Park, this year instead of Lefferson. Lefferson's getting some construction with the new pickleball courts, so we moved it to Sunset. There's a stage there,
Who's playing, did you say?
real life humans. I believe the flyer has it on it in the pack I gave you too, so, and then we have 8, food trucks, so it'll be a fun night from 5 to 9. Yeah, and we have a bar this year, so we will have, because that was a request last year, they were wanting full bar, so we did get full bar this year. I got that approved through the state, yeah.
Everybody wants some
Cool.
booze.
And we're featuring local breweries, so, the first, New Ales is our first brewery that's gonna be there.
Right on.
Thrown out, and then the next one will be Gravel Road in,
How are we getting the word out that this even exists? Cause I didn't know there was something this Friday.
Yeah,
How are we letting people know about this?
so the Journal we did a news release, the
Okay.
Journal's doing something, hopefully we get in, Wednesday this week, I'll be
Okay.
on one of the TV stations, but then there's also Middletown, Ohio events page and the city's Facebook page as
Okay.
well, so.
It's awesome.
Jerry's Facebook alone
I
will get
know.
everybody in Middletown, Trenton, Franklin, and Monroe. Right?
My personal one?
Yeah.
Probably, sadly, but that's true. I get weird friend requests anymore though, I don't accept all of them, so, I just don't,
Just
but
curious, is the band a Cincinnati band or a Dayton band? Or are they actually local?
they are Cincinnati,
Okay. I
yeah.
was just curious.
They're younger, Ashley, who does the other thing on Thursdays, the bands that are coming in on Thursdays is a different group that's doing it.
Sounds of Sunset.
Sounds at Sunset. Her and I talked last year. She said she'll get the old timers, I'll get the young timers, and we'll just attract both, with the 2 different events so that we can, play off of each other well too. So, that's my goal, is to try to bring, although in June, I'm super excited for the food truck. We're doing red, white, and blues, and we have, Teeny Tucker, who's award-winning blues singer that's gonna come in and give a concert. I'm super excited about that, so she's really amazing, so, yeah, I'm excited about these.
I assume Schwarber knows about this and has this and has been encouraged to share it with his 340 kids.
I sent it to 2 of the baseball coaches, but I will reach out, hopefully he emails me, or, do you have his email, Schwarber's email?
I do.
Can you send that to me, and I'll make sure that he does? 2 of the coaches know,
Okay.
but I know all of the, my family lives out in Madison, so I know, and my boys play ball, all of them are coming, so,
I don't have his email. Because-
Doris has it, she could get it to me, but I'll make sure that this gets to him.
Yeah.
Cause it would be super cool if everybody wore their uniforms if they have them, and come and get their pictures taken with the characters.
Oh, that would be cute for the kids.
But they'll be there for 2 hours straight, I have a backdrop and everything, so it's gonna be on, and a photographer coming, so.
It is, that's a big deal.
Okay, I'm gonna jump to, I need a motion to approve the March 18th and the March 21st special meeting as far as minutes.
And those are in the very back of the pack I gave you.
If anyone if you need time, take your time. I'm jumping to it because I have a question about the other item there with the Sherman Park. But I just thought I would try to knock this one up. And another really good reason that Jerry is getting our agendas out to us a little faster, so we can review this.
It's nice to have minutes.
My OCD likes writing minutes, I'm weird. I'm really weird.
Just looking for a motion.
Motion to approve March 11th, 2024 meeting and March 21st, 2024 special meeting.
March 18th.
March
18th, sorry.
18th.
You're okay.
Second.
Good, thank you. So, back to call to a vote on Sherman Park final equipment. Should there just be a motion to table that, since it's on our agenda?
it's to make a vote. Do we table that and move it to,
The 15th?
yes.
Yeah, I would say.
I think this needs to be vocalized, and that way it's taken care of off the agenda.
Yeah, so someone needs to motion to table it and someone needs to second it.
Motion to table.
Second.
Okay. Comments, Mr. Armbruster?
I do not have any.
Danielle? Don't wanna get it off your chest, say
I
it.
didn't have comments, I just had a question, and it was more along the lines of something to do with Sherman Park. I can always wait till next meeting. The wall,
Okay.
if we take that out, will that have to be graded? Or, like, if we take that away, all that's gonna fall?
Correct. What you would call is sloping. So we would first see, so what I was trying to do is have someone come over, take a look. What, the key there is what we call a footer. So what you see is the wall, that's what's exposed. But typically, they would have put a footer in order to set the wall on a firm base, right? The footer you don't see. And I know this takes really long with my answering stuff, but I wanna dig behind it, I wanna see how difficult it would be to take it out. We would hope that we could just take the exposed, visible part of that wall out, leave the footer, then you would set back the dirt and just slope it.
Okay,
And grade it out, seed it.
yeah.
And,
Okay.
and the beauty of that really is, it's one of the simpler jobs around, because it's only a foot and a half. The biggest distraction is going to be all the tree roots. That,
Yeah.
even though we grounded them,
Yeah.
there are just hundreds of them behind those walls.
Okay, all right, that answers my
And
question.
so for everyone's benefit, I had some friends come over, and I'll just state it, 25 grand is what I'm hearing.
To remove
20,
the wall.
yeah, to remove the wall and set it back and grade it, slope it, seed it.
Okay.
25,000.
Yes. You know, a lot of spoils. That one, I was kinda shocked. I wouldn't touch it for 35. There's a ton, I'm just saying, there's a ton of work. They're gonna get into those big trees and those root doors up against that wall, and they're gonna cuss ever taking this job over. I can see it. It may take a larger piece of equipment. Hope that helps. Julie?
One of the many times when we were over there, we took a look at the pathways that are there, the sidewalks. And one of the comments you had was that the kids use them
Yeah.
with their bikes. All those, and when we were there, they were using them. I don't know if it was a day off of school or whatever, but they were riding their bikes all over them. And it was a thought to maybe keep them because they were there, the ones, we talked about maybe just leaving two, but it's just something, I'm not making a decision. It was just something that we noticed, and you made a comment, and they are, gradual. They're not, it's not steps, it's just, they're all gradual, and the kids just ride their bikes
Well, they're
up and
incorporated
around.
they're incorporated with the walls, so if the walls were gone, that would change it, right? If the walls were gone, that would change a little bit of it. But if you were to remove all that and still give them a nice gradual up, but a new path, they would take that. They're used to
But
going
when you
on the paths that are
When you
there.
say new path, do you mean the one behind the backstop?
Well, when I say new path, one coming off of Sherman, and then I think we have one already designated off of Wayne that we would keep.
Yes,
Because it
it goes
flows
right to the
right into the
basketball
basketball.
court.
So you would keep one of the pathways?
I'm actually looking at, and here's where the wall topic comes up. If you took the wall out, it opens up a whole different venue of access to the park. It just does. Because right now, you either have to jump over the wall, or you walk up the gradual, what is it, 3 paths?
There's three
Three.
openings to the
Right,
sidewalk.
right. So, it's not my intention, my intention is to make a safer pathway, because the tree roots and the asphalt are just
Yeah,
kind of
that
crappy.
far one is just
Yeah,
like.
yeah,
you can't even-
yeah, and if we're gonna do this, I mean, that's icing on the cake, and, that really demonstrates we wanna change the makeover and the look of this place. And I'm all for more grass and more soft spots than asphalt, just am, I mean, it's a park. So, I've been thinking about that, and where do we put a path? If the wall stays, and here's more thinking, if the wall stays, do we eliminate a couple of those paths and just replace one of those, right? Because the wall's there, you gotta go up over, it's easiest for the bikes and all of that.
Yeah, I was just thinking of bikes and moms with strollers.
Absolutely,
You know,
absolutely.
Just for a way to get
Right.
her kid, if she has multiple kids, to the other side.
I hope everyone understands that the elimination of that asphalt is not to make anything, but it's to improve it.
Mhm.
And I just think one path, again, for maintenance
Yeah,
purposes.
agreed.
So, I've kind of taken on this whole wall thing, which I really don't, man, of all the things to deal with on a park, it's like, it's not $20, right?
Yeah.
It's not even $10,000. It's expensive, and it's gonna take a lot of work. But on the other hand, and talking amongst, it does make a huge change, because it's just kind of falling apart. And you were just kind of walking by it,
It's not gonna get any better.
No.
And you know we're not
It's
gonna
gonna
come,
get worse.
I know something, we're gonna be back, but we're not gonna come back, right? So do we do something about, but I appreciate your question, and I think it's a decision that'll have to be made by the group. Everyone goes down, if we keep the wall, and we don't wanna spend the money on it, which we need to see some numbers, great. And if we do keep the wall, then let's pick one path is my suggestion, maybe two, and get them cleaned up, get the roots out from underneath the path. I would put the path basically back where it was, so we aren't disturbing more ground. That would be my suggestion, and the easiest way to get to point A to point B without making a whole new, route.
Thank you.
David?
Yeah, I got a couple of things. First of all, I went to the park today, and I think the trees and the backstop look great. I mean, especially the
Thanks.
trees being cleaned up, tightened up. And
Against that lot,
it
against
really
the
has
empty
spoken.
lot behind the
It's
backstop.
made a huge difference. I am still around on this alley repave. We gotta sit down with the city manager.
Correct. I saw
No.
I saw your frustration on, I know, I know. I
No,
was there
that
with you.
alley belongs in the
To the
streets.
city, without a doubt.
Don't put that all on the park.
Correct.
And we know there's money there,
Yeah.
so either you take it up or I'll take
Now,
it up.
I'll be Robin on this one, you be the Batman.
Okay. And it really begs the question, after see how nice the trees look, what is it gonna take for the city to have the skill set to trim trees? I mean, let's be honest, that needs to be a priority for them
I
to
know, and
develop
I
that
didn't
skill
come to
set.
that.
For all the trees in this community, just alone in our parks, let alone in our parkways, we need that skill set. It needs to be a priority.
And it can be done in dormancy, and I failed them on getting out there. My goodness, I would have never thought we were gonna be June and April. We got caught a little off guard. We
I would
stayed-
really challenge the city to get that skill set and play it out through all our parks. We shouldn't.
Makes
that
a huge
neighborhood-
difference.
All these neighborhoods shouldn't have to go a lifetime without having the trees trimmed up. It's ridiculous.
I agree.
It's not that sophisticated of a task
Correct.
to be done.
I've trimmed a tree before.
Yeah. I'm gonna also say that I think we need to engage, I don't know where we are in engaging the police, but we need to engage them around cameras and lights, okay?
Yes.
The neighborhood has already played its card or played its hand about doing things that aren't what they should be doing in a park, all right?
Yep.
They need to know that somebody's watching. I mean, we would look, my greatest fear now is we got this beautiful playground equipment and beautiful stuff going in there, and we're gonna wake up the next morning and it's gonna be destroyed and painted, and it's gonna be defaced, and we're gonna be crushed, and the neighborhood's gonna be crushed. And not to say that cameras and lights aren't gonna totally fix that, but it's gonna give us a picture of who did it. We're gonna post,
Not
Go
to
ahead.
interrupt you, but my understanding, just so that the cameras cannot work until there's Wi-Fi in that particular park. That's my understanding.
I know, that's not totally true.
I don't know, that's just what I was told when I asked,
Yeah,
because that's been a same issue for me, I agree 100% with you, and so I got nosy and asked, and that's what I was told, is until
So-
there's Wi-Fi.
Let me reset for you then. Let me give you a fact.
Yeah.
Up until last year, there was no Wi-Fi at Smith Park, okay? However, there were cameras on the playground and on the splash pad over there. You
That
go.
worked?
Yes.
Okay.
You know what they're doing? They're running a signal off the top of the city building over there. There's an aerial network that exists in this city where they can run a signal. They run, at Lefferson Park for pickleball, they had to televise or put online some of their events.
Mhm.
They do that from the water tower up by Coles.
Huh.
They send a signal down to Lefferson Park.
Interesting.
That is a fact. There is not Wi-Fi at Douglas Park.
Right,
The police have had cameras at Douglas Park for years.
okay.
Fact.
Mhm.
There is an answer, and it's not dependent upon Wi-Fi.
So, can we get a representative from the police to maybe come over to one of these meetings in the next couple meetings and let them know what we're, supporting the city with and some decision-making?
So that would be Andy Warwick is gonna be the acting police chief,
I don't.
because, Crank is retiring, but I'll talk with him.
But, I mean, somebody, a representative, because I do agree with David.
So not the April 15th meeting, special meeting, but the May meeting?
No, just,
After
just,
that.
yeah, just,
The May
yes,
13th
yes,
meeting?
That's
yes,
perfect.
Yes. And we're letting them know, because, I don't wanna say this undiplomatically, as I always do. Do they even know that we're doing what we're doing, right? Do they know we're gonna spend $20,000 or $200,000 on some equipment over there? And I don't blame them, nobody told us.
They know that there's stuff happening, but what
Exactly.
exactly needs to be.
David, anything else?
The last thing I'll mention, I noticed in the notes that about couple weekends ago, that the soccer tournament down at Smith Park, I have a hard time getting Kathy or Pete here to these meetings to talk about it, but overwhelming success, 225 teams, and then Kathy just told me over the weekend, there were 1,005 room nights associated with those 225 teams traveling here.
That's awesome.
That's
Traffic was crazy.
Yeah, it's a great problem.
Crazy.
Yeah, it's a great problem to have.
It is.
They brought in a ton of business,
That's awesome.
especially the restaurateurs in town. Because I was getting texts from them about, wow, this is ridiculous
That's awesome.
in a good way. So 1,005 room nights from every hotel, from the Dayton Mall down to Union Center, including over in the Mason area.
How is
It's-
that tracked?
And
I do
leprechauns
know.
too, wasn't it leprechaun
Yeah,
weekend?
yeah.
We use a third-party service
Okay.
to schedule those rooms for us to make it easy on the teams, because if they went out on their own,
Yeah.
it would be a miserable experience, so we have a person that does that.
Cool.
Yep. That's it, thank you.
Good to have you back, Dave.
It's good to be back.
How was Arizona?
Colder and wetter than normal.
Oh,
Never
really?
known it to be, and I've only been going for this period of time for 6 years.
But you guys had a good time?
Oh, it's awesome.
Relaxed?
Thank you. Yeah, it's great.
Good to have you back. I'll keep it real short. Oh, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, as you get the park benches and stuff, if it's not under a source, if you give me the name of the company, I'll make sure that it's under source. If it's not under the source, then you have to have 3 different bids.
I have 3 bids on the benches.
That's fine. I just wanted to make sure that,
That company had sister companies,
okay,
so they were able to
give
pull
me
up.
3 different quotes, because I know that'll be the first thing
Right.
asked of me.
Tree top was good.
Because of our guest, I kind of looked at our agenda. I'm not seeing citizens' comments.
Yeah, I realized that, so.
Not to,
Yeah.
well, yeah, I called you out on that, so just let me know. You've been running like 100%, so
Well,
I
I
thought.
put comments at the
All
bottom.
right,
It can be
yeah,
citizens'
okay,
comments,
okay. And then, last, so my hard line on Goldman, how I approach everything, I am all happy that we have a user group over there. I think what was important though is that, again, we all come together, they understand that it's a taxpayer's park. Other people need to use it, but I would like to try and help them as much as we possibly can. And, try and make that successful for them. So, I'll take a motion for adjournment.
Second.
Thank you. Thank you.
Let me know, Sherry, I'm available this this week if you want me to
Why don't
come
we
stop
stop
down
down
here
here
sometime.
sometime? Okay.
I like what you
I
do.
think I'll be
Yeah.
okay. I, the main thing is I gotta see, I'll get with Charlie to get the final dollar amounts of the projects he's already done. And I think I've got everything, and I'll plug it in and if I have questions.
I know, I'm gonna be out there 8:15.
We'll ask. We may have to, I have to look at this column again, but if we have multiple.
And, you know, I'm, most of it's family, a lot of it's family.
Is there room on there, like with the park?
No, you can add.
Okay.
Are you comfortable with those cells?
Yeah, oh, yeah.
Just add.
Okay.
Just add a row.
A row, option one, option two, okay.
Yeah.
I use Google Forms a lot too, so.
Thank you.
I'll send you one on here, this is the update that I have.
It's
And then I'll match it.
I'll send it to you right now.
Hi,
Don't get me
Jerry.
wrong, I'm not being difficult, I wanna help.
I just bought,
Yeah, no.
Call me.
I will, about,
Still got your broom.
It is.
Just let me know about how
Maybe
you
gonna turn this chicken scratch into.
Trust you.
Bigger than what I thought it was.
Thank you for coming.
Hey, thank you for letting me be here.
Well, no, so just so you understand, it's,
and what you say.
please take this.